Hello everyone, this is Astronaut here. This is going to be a little different video than my normal stuff. Lately I've been watching some videos on space and a lot of the stuff about flat Earth. And I've always been curious about some of this stuff myself. So what I've done here is I'm setting up myself a little experiment. What I have is a little sandblasting cabinet that I picked up at I think Tractor Supply, like $100. Okay, and then what I've done is I've hooked a vacuum gauge. Vacuum reads counterclockwise up to 30 inches. Pressure equals 10 psi clockwise. And I have it plumbed into my air hose from my air compressor. And then the line also comes around and goes inside the cabinet to this little device here in the middle. And what that is a little spinner. Air pressure will cause it to act like a little jet and spin. And as you see, if I push on the nozzle here, it'll spin. And the pressure gauge registers 1 psi. So what my experiment's going to entail is two different things. The first one is to show you what should happen to an astronaut's suit when they're in the vacuum of space. Now, vacuum in space is supposedly absolute vacuum, which would be 0 psia. So that means it's roughly 30 inches of vacuum. And and people may not realize, but vacuum is a very, very powerful thing. It's way more powerful than pressure. Okay, so in this experiment, you see the gloves in here from the sort of sandblasting cabinet. And I have a shop vac plugged in outside to get it out of the way. What I'll do is I'll turn it on, I'll stuff this in here, and we'll get a reading on the vacuum gauge, which is only about 3 inches of vacuum. So it's not a lot, but it's enough to show you what happens to these gloves. If you're an astronaut in space, this is what you would expect to see in a spacesuit. And then the second part of the process is to see in a vacuum, can pressurized air, gases like in the space shuttle allow you to steer in space. Now if you watch Brian Mullen's video, he talks about this, and he doesn't believe that pressure can be used in space. It has nothing to push against. Vacuum, there's nothing there to push against. So this is an experiment. So one of them is successful and one of them is not quite successful, and I'll go into details after that. So first what we're going to do is turn on the shop vac. And I'm going to slide this in, and we're going to see what happens to the gauge and the gloves. The gauge is reading about 3 psi. Look at these gloves. They are so stiff, and that's only 3 psi of vacuum. Now if I take my little air nozzle here and I press on it, it still spins. And as you watch the gauge, you pretty much lose my vacuum signal there. But it still works. So in one theory, an astronaut in space should look like the Michelin tire man. It should be all blown up, fat as can be. You should be able to hardly move the gloves. I mean, these things are super, super stiff. Extremely difficult to maneuver. And you imagine the whole suit in space would do that, because the suit is pressurized, space is vacuum. But anyway, so this test is a little inconclusive, because if I could make a chamber, this chamber, if you noticed, is really sunken in. Just 3 inches of vacuum. If you used to design a vacuum chamber that could pull 30 inches and try this experiment, I'm sure we would see a different test result. So that's my input into a couple issues that I have with space and a vacuum. So hope you enjoyed the video. Leave any comments, feel free to mark, and I'll answer in kind. Alright, this is Astronaut out. Thanks for watching.